What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of On Another Line Live. My name is Tyler. We're going to be joined by JR in just a few minutes. We're going to start talking about some new baits that are coming out. We're also going to be talking about some techniques and stuff that we've been digging into lately. JR is kind of on the back end of going to get something to eat, so he'll be back here in just a second. Yeah, matter of fact, he is jumping in right now. So when we get him in here in just a second, we'll see what's up. So anyway, we are going to talk some new baits and things tonight. We're going to try a few different things this week because we never had two hosts on here before. So give me just a second here to kind of get things situated, and then we'll be right back. What is going on, everybody? I'd like to introduce you guys to hopefully the newer host of On Another Line Live, Mr. J.R. White here. We're going to try some new things tonight, guys. First off, it's Wednesday, a little different. Last night I had some technical difficulties and I couldn't go live. So, JR, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you. Got you on here, buddy.
That is good news. So, yeah, I was just saying there that does it say that you can share to your, because it said on my side here,
Stream this to your audience. I see
yeah,
that.
that's it.
Okay, stream this to your audience. Okay.
How are y'all doing tonight, guys? While we're digging through this again, I appreciate you guys joining in with us this episode of On Another Line Live. We're going to be talking about some new baits that JR and I have been seeing coming out lately. JR has some new baits in-house. He's going to show you guys, talk about a video that I just released today, which is about Carolina rigging. If you haven't had a chance to look at that and you want to learn what I do when I'm throwing a Carolina rig, it's there. If you missed last week's episode with Justin Lucas, actually, it's still out there, obviously online, so check it out. It's out there. So did you get that?
Yeah, hopefully we can get him back on again when he has a little bit more time and he's not wrestling little guys like I've been doing all night tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So again, guys, we're just going to start talking about some new baits. I know that I think the buzz right now, the buzzword is the 6 Sense Panorama, and according to Josh Jones, which you guys don't know Josh Jones, if you don't know Josh Jones, you should definitely check him out. I think he's probably one of the best fishermen on the planet right now, especially using live scope and stuff of that nature. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think he said that it was like over 75 fish that were over 10 pounds has hit the deck of his boat this year, which is astronomical.
Yeah, he's a guide. He has a little bit of an advantage, and he's on, I think, Lake Fork and OH most of the time. So he's definitely where the big ones live. But still, that's pretty daggone impressive.
Yeah, what's up, Brandon? I appreciate you tuning in on the way home. And this is something else I'm going to try going forward from here on out, is that I found out that I can record audio from these things, and a lot of people don't get on here and watch video podcasts and stuff, and I understand, like, there's not a whole lot of time where I listen to podcasts and stuff like this on my own. Normally, if I'm listening to something like this, it's going to be audio based on something like Joe Rogan podcast or whatever, where I can tune that thing in and I can just listen to it going down the highway. So I think a new thing that I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to look into it right now. Actually, I've been looking into it today, is just recording the audio of these things and posting them out on a podcast service to where you can hear these, just audibly as opposed to seeing our ugly faces. So that might be something.
I was listening to Conan earlier today.
Yep. So Aaron, I'm with you. I think he needs to fish elites too. I'm sure you're talking about Jones, but like, I don't know. I mean, and that's another thing we were talking last week about, like the forward facing sonar thing is going. It's a big buzzword. It's a hot button topic right now too. But I think the fact of the matter is that I don't care who you are or what you say, they're never going to ban that thing. I tell you what, somebody will do, and they'll make a lot of money. And I don't know, maybe we'll get together and do it because it could be a way to make billions of dollars. Is all these people complaining about forward facing sonar in tournaments? They want to see tournaments that stuff is not allowed. Well, a couple of things is, one, if you have it on your boat, are you going to use it? Probably. But if you could start a tournament series where that was illegal, like if like, I think it would be fun, and it would be kind of detrimental to the sport, I think. Like, there's Ace jumping in there, but
Yeah,
I think
Ace made it to the conversation here.
I think it's detrimental to the whole deal. But I think like having almost like a John boat tournament with $70,000 bass boats, where like you can have a flasher on there to tell you how deep it is so you don't get killed. But like, finding fish is like man versus nature. It's not even like side scan. Side scan has changed the way I fish in the last year, because I now have the ability to side scan things and find things that I could fish, like Lake St. Clair. And I'm scanning and finding rock piles. I'm marking them. I'm going back to that I'm going back to that rock pile and I'm catching fish off from it. Before, man, it was just like you drug a bait around until you found something that felt good, and there might be a fish on it.
Yeah, that'd be a fun way to fish it, actually. No electronics, essentially. Just know your basics and go from there.
Yeah, but that's not going to fly, because there's so much money that comes into all the fishing world in those electronics. Like, for example,
yeah, they pay for the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at the MLF stuff right now, like, they don't have an entry fee, right? And I know Johnny Morris is loaded. He's richer than 4 foot up a hogs are in, but he can't. I know he's footing the bill for a lot of that stuff, but those sponsorships and stuff that are making a buttload of money. But in the grand scheme of things, you and I were having a conversation the other day about forward-facing sonar, that if you kind of ban it at those very high upper echelon places like that, like elites and MLF, will it ultimately hurt the sales of that stuff? Probably not, because it's kind of like we were talking about, and I said the MLB, the Major League Baseball stuff. Just because they can't use aluminum bats doesn't mean that the aluminum bat sales has went down any.
Yeah, I think they're in to play the devil's advocate to that. They're going to want to put those high end things in the elites and the highest stage that it's seen streaming, so that it's seen on Fox Sports and things like that, so that you're getting as many sales as possible. And like, it's the same thing with Garmin. I have the original Live Scope. Now there's this new transducer that's been out for a little while, and I'm asking myself, does it really make a big difference between the new transducer versus the old transducer? And it's just a constant way to have the captive audience that you want with any business.
Yeah, no, and that's the deal. Like, it's really tough for me to say that, because again, I've seen yours and I've seen Kyle's, who has the new transducer, and like for example, like, let's talk about me as a personal fisherman and my personal experience. Right now, I own a 2006 Stratus 201 Pro XL that I really like. I really love the boat. It's getting older. Again, it is what it is. I mean, the boat's 17 years old at this point. But I've put $7,000 worth of graphs on it in the last year and a half. I need a new trolling motor, which is another $4,000. And then it comes into the consideration, do you need do you need any of this stuff? No. I do think you need spot lock of some sort to stay competitive, especially in the level that I want to try to fish at. But when you have, $1,500 for a 360 transducer, and then you have $2,000 for another live scope / forward facing sonar, like, it is easily, everybody, complains about the $100,000 bass boat. $100,000 doesn't touch this in 5 years. I bet, like the Icon boats, I bet you see them $150,000 in the next few years.
I went over to Malone's yesterday, and I'm interested in buying a Phoenix, and it's kind of a long process, but I went and saw one of their new XEs, which is kind of the newest version of the Phoenix boat, and the guy that was buying it, I mean, had well over $100,000 into it, and that's a Phoenix. They're a little bit more reasonable than some of the other new brands, but it's pretty cool. I saw the new power pole trolling motor on there. Move, I think is the name of it. But
yeah, I mean, that thing's $5,000 on its own.
Yeah. The guy had, I think he had two 12s up front and then a 12 in the back, and live scope. He had it done right, no doubt about it.
That's right. What's up, David, man? I appreciate you watching today's drop. If you guys haven't watched the video that I posted earlier today, I released it about 5:30 this evening, talking about Carolina rig fishing. This past weekend, man, I didn't put it on the video because I didn't want to be like this big whiny baby. It was on my TikTok for a while, and then I deleted it because, like, I realized that 90% of the people that follow me on TikTok are part of the problem. Like, first off, I've been 3 different times. I've been fishing at this one exact point on Grayson Lake. There's about 75 to 80 yards of water behind me and about 30 to 40 yards in front of me, and I'm pointing my boat at this point, and between me and that point's about 8 foot deep. Behind me is the channel. It's like 40 foot deep. I'm pointing my boat somewhere. I'm standing there with a 7.5 foot rod looking over the trolling motor, casting at this point, and I've had 3 people in the last year run in between me and the bank. And this past week at Grayson, I had it happen twice in the same day. One dude came so close to me that he cut my freaking line throwing a Carolina rig.
That was bad, man.
I've never seen anything like it. It's nuts, man. It is crazy. But
I mean, I saw that first comment after you put that on there, and they said it didn't look like he was that close. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he's less than a cast.
Yeah, like he cut my line. Like, it wasn't like, I can cast pretty far with my gear, but it's just not, whatever. So anyway, first off, David, back to your comment there about casting a Carolina rig, guys. It's all in the technique. If you're trying to whip that thing like you are a crankbait or something, I swear you're not going to want to throw it. But if you just make a big looping cast, if you get better and better at it, I can cast a Carolina rig almost farther than any other bait that I can, other than like a jig or something. What's up, Mark Hickey? How you doing, buddy? First and foremost, guys, if you guys are just now joining us, couple of things I want to give a shout out to. One of those is Mark Hickey here, has his own brand of fishing apparel. It's Apex Fishing Apparel. You can find them on Amazon, or not Amazon. You can find them on Facebook. They do have their own website. I will show that for you here in just a second. We'll have to get Mark. It's apexfishingapparel.com. I will share this here for you in just a second. That would be right here. There is a promo code out there. Mark, you might drop it. I think it's Tyler Waller 10, T Waller 10, something. I don't know what it is. It'll save you 10%. But I'm telling you what, did I have some of the long sleeve stuff? I'm going to buy some of the hoodies here soon. They do have male, female stuff. They do have some toddler stuff here. I have this cryptic blue, white long sleeve one here that I really like. And again, you're getting this stuff from a fisherman. Him and his wife do a great job doing this stuff. I'm interested in picking up some of the hoodies here. Same material as the long sleeve hoodies or long sleeves that I have now, but they have hoodies. There's sun protection with hoodies, guys. And if you ever have used anything like this, having a hood is big time for me. One of those things where, it keeps the sun off the back of my neck 100% of the time. But again, if you guys are interested in checking that out, apexfishingapparel.com. And if Mark would post that down there, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, and then from my standpoint, most common places of skin cancer are often the backs of the ears. Having a hood definitely benefits you there.
There you go. Quick, fast, and in a hurry here. Another thing I want to give a shout out to. New sponsor we just picked up for the show, and that is Borders in Ashland, Kentucky. We're working with Brad and the people at Borders, just for the simple fact I'm still a part of the Shimano crew, obviously, but I'm also a part of Greg Drown's stuff at the tackle box. But as we all know, Greg is shutting his doors, and it's rightly so. He should do that. He's been in business like 43 years. The dude's had, and in my opinion, one of the best tackle shops I've ever been to. It's just that good. But the writing's kind of on the wall. It doesn't look like anybody's going to buy the tackle box. He's just selling everything out, and then eventually going to close the doors, which sucks. But, to continue trying to promote local brands and trying to bring you guys the best deals and trying to get Brad at Borders to order the stuff that all of us use locally that, we may not be able to get anymore because the tackle box is not going to be there. We're partnering up with them. And we'll be bringing some stuff to you from them. We may even do a live show over there one day or so. We're just going to try to talk. We're kind of expanding our horizon there. So you're going to have to look for some stuff coming on there. But again, this episode is brought to you by Border Sporting Goods in Ashland, Kentucky.
And speaking of, I just picked these up at Borders. So going back into the Carolina rig, I don't know if any of you guys have used this before. These are Carolina Keeper. That way you don't have to tie so many knots. You don't run the risk of, cutting your line on the bead, things like that. I know that Fluke Master is a big sponsor of these guys. So he uses this pretty much exclusively, and he fishes Carolina rig quite a bit. So if you guys have any experience with these, I picked up 2 of them. They're only like $3. So if you have any experience with it, let me know. I'm definitely going to try it out. I feel like I'm definitely a novice at fishing in general, but definitely a novice at Carolina rig, and I'm trying to learn that from Tyler quite a bit, actually.
So where are those like rubber stoppers that go in between the?
Yeah, they're just like little pieces of plastic. You just kind of pinch them and open them up, and those kind of just pinch on your line, and that way you can act just like you've got a snap swivel on there, and you don't have to use anything other than that right there.
I'd be interested to see if that holds like a 1 ounce weight.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's see here. Mark Hickey said him and his dad fished out of an 89 Ranger until he passed, won tons of money out of it. Man, that's the thing. I like my boat. It's 17 years old. I'm not in a hurry to get rid of it by any means, but we're talking about fishing tournaments and stuff. Like, there is a point where if you want to be competitive in a tournament, I'm talking even down to the local levels, man, like you could go out and have somebody have $100,000 boat that's just rigged to the gills. And as much as you want to say it, or much as you don't want to say it, you're at a severe disadvantage if you don't have the money or don't spend that money to try to do that. So another thing you have to look at is it worth it? Again, I said I put $7,000 worth of graphs on my boat in the last year. I put 2 Solix 15s on there. I don't regret it a bit. I love them. They're amazing. But if you're looking at forward-facing sonar is a big deal. 360 is a big deal. Looking at lithium batteries at that point, it's easy to have a boat that's paid off like mine and have another mortgage on that boat to put the stuff on there, which is crazy. It's like Mark says, Icon boats are crazy. Like 120, they're 120 grand right now, 125,000. And Weta, man, I tell you what, that joker can sell an Eskimo refrigerator, I think, because he's selling those Icons like crazy. Herm says, I'm too old school to fish tournaments nowadays unless I'm on the Ohio or in a lake I know. Hate electronics, can't afford the new ones. I'm running older guys out of fishing tournaments. So I'm with you, Worm, and I think that it's not just running older guys, it's running people like me that doesn't have I have a great job. I'm a high school teacher. I've been teaching for 17 years. I don't think that I make the most money in the world, and I definitely don't make the least amount of money. I live comfortably, but these electronics and stuff that people are buying. I saw a meme the other day. It said, you're running $100,000 truck and $150,000 boat, and fishing $5,000 tournaments a weekend. What cartel do you work for, and how can I get in? It's crazy. Like, could I afford it? Probably, but it would be penny pinching. And like, this is a hobby for me. It's a way of life more than anything. But I don't really. I guess I don't rely on it to put food on my table. Do I think that if the country is going to hell and I need to go out and catch some fish or put it on my table, do I think I can do that? You dang right I can. But when it comes down to going out and winning every tournament I'm just not doing that, because I don't have the ability to spend that $40,000 on electronics.
Mm-hmm. And two, you got to think too about the people that have the really fancy electronics and have no clue how to use them. I think that's a huge amount of people that have the new stuff.
Yeah, this is funny, Mark. You say you put the 100-yard rule, man. I got to show you this. I was just remembered today that I put a video or a picture together just to show people on my Snapchat where this person went around me. And dude, I am not lying to you. I'm trying to figure out, where did I put that? I thought I put it here. Is it not here? Where? Ah, man, I have to find it. I don't know what I've done with it.
Looks like we got some fans of Carolina keepers though, so I'm remaining optimistic.
What's up, Andrew? Glad you're tuning in, man. Yeah, so again, apexfishingapparel.com. Carolina stoppers are awesome. Yeah, so Luke, I saw some people using multiple bobber stops below and above that, so they could take like a Texas rig and just run that thing up there. I like to have that weight just free flowing on there. I think a lot of times, especially in the really hot summer, if you're throwing something on a really, really hot day and a fish picks it up, as soon as they feel that weight of it, they're just going to get rid of it. And giving that extra 2 or 3 seconds for you to set the hook is big for me, because I fish some of the most sensitive gear on the planet. But then again, I'm usually like looking off into the distance, looking for a bald eagle or something when I'm fishing. So, I need every help I can get. JR, can you like show those? You can see the comments on the side, right? Can you show those?
Yeah. What do you just right click them and share them? Is that how?
Be able to click, like if you hover over mine, just says show. Do you see that?
Let's see. If I hover over it, nothing happens.
Ha.
You still the boss hog, bro.
Yeah. Let's see here. I gotta find this picture, man. I don't know what I've done with it. I had to put it out here somewhere so I can find it. What did I do with it?
He's showing off that fresh new cut, I see.
That's right. My kids always ask me at school, did you get a haircut yesterday? I'm like, no, I got all my hairs cut. Because I'm that guy,
He's got
Waller, blah. Man, what did I do with that picture? I can't find it for nothing. I just had it.
So for a brand that we have no affiliation with, but I always try to buy local, but man, Discount Cat Tackle will just hook you up for no reason. Like, I bought some of these new baits from Discount Tackle because they got them before anybody else, and I know it's going to be a while before we get them here. And they send me a thing of beef jerky. Like, what the heck?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so I found it. So we were talking about people being stupid and the 100-yard rule. I got to show you this one right here, fellas. I swear to you, this is not made up. This is not at all. This is not photoshopped in any way, right? I'm throwing a topwater bait at Grayson the other day, the same day that I had this guy run in between me. I want you to check this out. If you guys see that splash right there, that is a popper that I'm throwing, and that's a boat getting ready to run freaking slap over top of it, man. Like, And the guy that cut me off, that cut my line, was even closer than this guy did. Like, I still don't know how this guy didn't cut my line. I'm throwing braid. I'm throwing 60-pound braid on a, it was some sort of walking bait or a popper. I can't remember what I had tied on, but this dude literally runs right over my topwater bait. Like I don't get it, man. Like,
yeah, and it's going to look like that's a lot further away than it is because you're using a GoPro with a fisheye lens.
Yeah, so if you look right now where my GoPro is to me, that's 20 foot roughly. So you're looking probably another 50 foot maybe from me is where that dude's at. And you can see, like, in between here and that bank, that's nothing but a big flat in there. And you can see how much lake's on the back side of me here. So they could definitely go around me, and they could tell that I'm fishing there. It just blows my ever-loving freaking mind. Like, it makes me, like, so angry, but I don't know. What do you do that?
Hey, man, they don't want to waste gas,
I guess. Where will the industry go from here? I think it goes to
technology.
People using, I think LiveScope now becomes even better than LiveScope. I think LiveScope becomes like those AquaView cameras. And I know there's people still using those right now. I think it was like Jason Christie, I think, using them.
Ott Defoe, big user of AquaView.
Yeah, Luke Schmidt's fishing is rich person sport nowadays is a grind for an average angler. But I don't care if I had $1 million, it'd still be a grind for me because I'm just an average angler with the best technology on the planet. But I'm learning. And you're getting called out, Luke. So, Luke, there was and it kind of made sense to me the other day. We had we had Justin Lucas on for a little while last week because he was at his son's doubleheader baseball game. So, first off, I want to thank you for being a part of that show for any amount of time. We got that dude on there. That guy's a hammer. He's BASS Angler of the Year. He's won a BASS tournament. He's 2-time MLF champion. Like, he's just a hammer. But he made a good point the other day that I never thought of. He's like that tungsten being so dense, you're probably going to crack that bead or destroy it and end up cutting your line. I would make a tough decision on buying new or used again this winter. Interest rates and travel costs are making this game harder than ever for the average guys. Love it too much to quit. Yep, that's a deal, Corey. Which brings us to another affiliate of the show, JB's Fish Sauce. JB's Fish Sauce is something that I've used and I absolutely love, and it's something that I use every day when I'm fishing. And it doesn't matter what, when, how, who, what, doesn't matter. I am using it. You guys can obviously check that out at jbsfishsauce.com. There is a code for OALL20 that is on another line live 20 that will save you 20% off. But the cool thing about this is you guys probably know this, or maybe if you've been here enough, you probably already know this, but they do have a special scent that I like to say is the bomb.com, and that is right here. And as you could tell, I don't just put my name on stuff willy-nilly. Actually, I would, but they were the only people that would let me put my name on there. But JB's Fish Sauce Pinch of Garlic, one of my favorite things. This is a 4-ounce spray. First off, Corey, I want to thank you guys for actually putting some amazing labels on these things now. It makes your guys' product look way better and way more professional. So I know we talked about that before. So I appreciate that. But again, if you guys go use the code OALL, so that's not 0, that's OALL20, it will save you 20% there at jbsfishsauce.com.
Yeah, it's definitely more than a pinch of garlic, too. That stuff is potent.
Yeah, man. Mark, I'm telling you, Brandon's got it right here. 1/2 ounce jig to the head. Bud, those people don't need 1/2 ounce. They need freaking like 1.5 ounces. Like, and the thing about it is, though, what really grinds my gears is that there was a guy in there that was well over the age to be knowing better, but there was a young kid in that boat with him that saw all that go down. So that kid now thinks that that's how it works, right? So that kid's going to get a boat, and then somebody else is going to be out there fishing, and that kid's going to run over somebody's line. And me being a high school teacher, guys, I'm going to tell you, I try my best to be out of the spotlight 100% of the time. Like if you think back to my dad, if anybody knew my dad, they would tell you that I'm almost polar opposite to him. Because if somebody done that to him, Bud, we'd have run those guys down and we'd have been on their boat in about 8 minutes. Like it wouldn't have been no problem. Like we would have cussed them until we got a hold of them, and then it would have been over. So I try to keep my first off, I am affiliated with a lot of different products in the fishing world, and I don't want to give that up. That is one of the biggest ways to get rid of a sponsor in a hurry, and that is making yourself look like a fool in public and having stuff like that work. Like, for example, if we look in a really big scale, the guys that were cheating in the walleye tournaments, right? Those guys made a real big name in themselves. So I watched this guy do this, and I was thinking, like, if I could have easily been that guy and run those guys down and cussed them until a fly wouldn't stand on them. But then that young kid was like, who is that guy? And he has a bad I have a bad reputation when it was, in reality, it was his dad or granddad or whatever that was the freaking jackhole.
Oh, yeah. Casey's on here.
So that's the thing, Jared. Like, I have a hard time not going shallow, but I do tell you one thing right now, using my graphs, I try to fish offshore more than anything. Unless I'm in a tournament where I know they're going to be shallow, I try to fish offshore. I try to learn that stuff. Like that's why I was there the other day fishing on that point, but I got run over twice.
Hey, Takahiro Mori makes a living off of it. Best shallow water angler I've ever seen, I think.
Mark, he says, "I ate a jiggle, son. Good thing I know we did crankbait because you ain't throwing one of those. I promise you." Luke says, "Caught an elk on a whopper plopper." Speaking of which, Mark, did you kill any elk out there? I saw you guys caught a trout or a sucker. Obviously, I was just playing with you on that post. But if you guys saw that, he caught a sucker on a trout or on a fly rig the other day on a fly fishing rig, and I told him it's not too often you see two suckers in the same photograph. That is the one and only.
Casey, I miss you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, I could have easily been that guy. And there was another guy that cut me off, like I said, that literally cut my freaking line. And I wish that I could, I put it on TikTok, and I got to the point where I just got so frustrated because people were saying, like JR said, oh, they had plenty of room to go around you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it's not the fact that they cut close to me. Like, I understand if you're in a really narrow spot and there's only a certain area to go around, okay, I get it. But it was easily known that there was way more water on the good side, the deep side, and I left it that way. And I was literally pointed into the bank, even worse than I was in that photograph. I was literally pointed at the bank, and the guy comes running in between me and cuts my line on the Carolina rig, which, like, my blood pressure went from 0 to 480 in about 13 seconds. Uh-oh, JR's locked up over there. He's got that. Oh, there we go. He's back.
It's Spectrum, man. What can you do?
I got Spectrum too. Ben's not on a boat. It's dark out there.
So, another new bait. So this is a chatter spike. I don't know how many of you guys love chatter baits. So this is going to be similar to kind of like the missile baits, but it obviously has the elastic in it. So sorry, the internet sucks. Am I back?
Yes and no. You're buffering, bro.
Yeah, it's getting to be that time. But new chatter spike from Z-Man, I think it's going to be a really good bait for your chatterbait anglers out there. So I'm personally a big fan of Z-Man. I don't know if you guys like it, but personally I do.
Let's see if I can find a picture of it here. Chatter spike. Let's do here. Let's share this old bad boy right here. This is it, chatter spike. 7 colors available. This is Bad Shad. I think that's what he held up a minute ago was green pumpkin.
Oh, green pumpkin.
Fish any color you want to, Bubby, as long as it's green pumpkin.
I was waiting on that.
You guys have heard me say that a million times on this show, and you probably don't know where that's from, but I was fishing at Yatesville one time, me and Kyle, and it was colder than, I mean, it was cold. It was like snowing. I was out there in like snow bibs and stuff. We were dumb. I still am dumb, but not as dumb, but I was real dumb that day. You know, like when I'm talking like cold enough that the boat ramp was freezing that cold. Guy out there just sitting in his nice warm truck on the boat ramp. He's like, "You guys catch him?" I was like, "No, buddy, we didn't catch a thing. It's cold out there. Water temperature like 35 degrees. What collar are you throwing?" I said, "Well, we threw about every collar." He said, "Well, Bubby," he said, "you can fish any collar you want to as long as it's green pumpkin." So that's where that story came from. Chartreuse white, I like that one. Electric shad, I think I like electric shad and bad shad pretty well. Got the deal. I actually really like that one.
I love the deal. That's one of the best colors they have.
So I'm looking at it here, but it looks like the bend in the bait is like opposite what it should be. They have gill plates on it, and it looks like it like flutters up and down. Is that true? Like the tail?
I think it's going to go every which way, man. I think it's basically that taper, and a lot of the bait manufacturers are doing this now, especially in Berkeley.
Yep. Speaking of which, let's look at the hottest bait on the planet right now, and it's so hot that I don't think you can get them anywhere. And that is the 6 Cents Panorama. We talked about, well, let's just see if you can buy one. I bet you can't. You can get I guess you can get the 6.5 and 9 in Ghost Pro. You can get the 9-inch in 4K shad. They must have got a lot more of these than see all these here, like the gill stuff. Like, see this gill? That's not for me. Like, that looks like banjo minnow. Now this live gizzard shad,
that's the impressive one, man.
Like, I'm in there on that, and like they're all sold out, obviously. But like, I think that this is like pretty amazing. But first off, one thing that you don't realize, this thing is fairly giant. Matter of fact, you can check this out. This thing's rigged on a Carolina rig, which is pretty cool. And they have a video out there talking about how it's rigged. But this is one of the baits that Josh Jones thinks, claims that put like 50 plus 10 pounders in his boat. So he's been using this for all year. I was watching the rigging video that they did. It's out on Instagram, I think, with 6 Cents, and I'm not sure. I should be able to share an Instagram video with you.
It's a good video. I still feel like I ordered a bunch of them. I feel like that's gonna be the big question mark for me.
Yeah, so like they were talking about like how they rigged it, and this guy's talking about, and I think that one of the things that I really liked about it is the fact that they one of the things that they were talking about was being able to Texas rig it. Let's see here. I think I can share this with you anyway. Let's try this. Out there.
What's going on, guys? Team 6 member Dalton Smith. I want to go over some of the best ways to rig the new Panorama coming out.
Actually, I think I need to do something here real quick. Yeah, there we go. I had audio on. I'm sure you guys could have heard it.
These are just ways that we think is best applicable to use. We've done underwater testing and actually put these baits to the test on the water and see these best. First off, just rigging it weightless. In the springtime, up around docks or shallow cover, using the bait in like a soft jerk bait application, it's going to work perfect. The bait's going to fall super slow, and as you can tell, when this bait is falling, you don't have to really put any action to it. Next up, rigging this Panorama with a Texas rig. Right here, I have a 1/2 ounce tungsten by 6 Cents. This is a great way when you're sight fishing these fish on bed to keep that bait inside the bed and just put a little movement to it to get these fish to react to it. Put a bunch of big fish in the boat this year sight fishing this way. Next up, guys, we have the drop shot. And as you can see right here, I have this bait nose hooked with the bait being straight up. There's so many different ways that you can rig this on a drop shot. You can also flip this bait around and fish it flat. Also, one of my favorite ways to rig this on a drop shot is rigging it Texas rig so I can fish it through offshore structure. But this is a great application that you northern guys can also put into your arsenal whenever you're fishing current, whether that be on the St. Lawrence River or bed fishing for these smallmouth. This right here is going to put some giant fish on the boat up north. Another awesome way to rig this bait, guys, is the Tokyo rig. For you guys that are on the Tennessee River, I know you love throwing a swing head. This thing right here, you can slow roll it on the bottom, and this bait is just going to be kicking up behind this weight right here and just doing whatever it can to get that fish's attention. This is also another great way to bed fish with this bait, as you can keep that weight here and just barely move that bait in front of the fish's mouth. Next up, guys, we have the Ned Rig football head. This is actually a 7/16 ounce by 6 cents. And this is going to be a great way to bed fish or float this bait in current. And you can see this is a little bit of a shorter shanked hook, but it gives that bait free range of motion. So when you're hopping, it almost has like an S-wave kind of a movement. These fish can't stand it. It's going to be another great application to put big fish in the boat. Next up, guys, as you can tell, this is the 9-inch Panorama. It's a big profile bait. I have it rigged up on a keel-weighted hook right now. This is a great way to fish it in heavy structure, whether that be timber or salt cedars or even in some grass. This right here, whenever this bait falls and it's on a keel-weighted hook like this, it has like a parachuting action. It just spins in the circle, and it's a really different look that these fish haven't seen. And also, it's really easy to pendulum this bait. Once I get that fish's attention on live scope, I just start to reel it real slow, and this tail is going to be up, kicking in their face, and they just come up behind it and inhale it. It's an awesome way to rig this bait. This is probably one of my favorite ways to throw it, just because I like to throw a big bait like this. Hey guys, another awesome way to rig this bait is the hover rig. You can fish this weightless, or also you can add a little nail weight in the nose of it there. This is going to be a really good presentation when these fish are chasing bait and schooling up and targeting on these small bait fish like this. And you can utilize your forward-facing sonar and put it right in front of that fish's mouth, and they can't stand it. All right, guys, another great way to rig the Panorama is with the shaky head. Right here, I have a 3/8 ounce Divine shaky head. I've been using this to throw it at fish in the timber when they're suspended, utilizing my forward-facing sonar and really putting it right between their eyes. And I'm calling it floating this bait. So I'm just trying to pendulum the bait and just give it a little bit of movement, and these fish can't stand it when they're keyed in on the small bait fish. This is an awesome way also to fish it around offshore structure or rock piles. It's going to be completely weedless. You can give that bait little hops in this structure, and it's going to trigger these big fish to eat. Guys, these are just some applications that we think is best fit to rig the Panorama. Don't be limited. Don't be closed-minded on this. Use your imagination, guys. This bait has endless different ways that you can rig it and put big fish in the boat. I'm excited to see how many big ones that get put in the boat with this bait, guys. Go pick yours up at 6inchfishing.com.
I bet that thing skips like an absolute dream.
So I think, and you could look on that video, that 9-inch version looks like crap, man. Compared to the 5-inch,
it is monstrous.
Well, it looks dumb. Like it doesn't even look like the same bait. It looks like they're like, I don't know. Like they scaled up the size of it for crazy. Like there's one in there called Shad Clone I really like. Live thread fin shad's really cool. I like, and you guys aren't seeing this, but they have live crappie. And every one of these things looks like there's like 3 of these left. So, this is going to be a hot bait that's going to be, probably not available for months, maybe even years. So
I think Josh Jones he kind of did this with the hover strolling, is how he was always catching them, it seemed, in his videos, using forward-facing sonar.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think it's there. I know where there's, forward-facing sonar is amazing. I don't have the ability to use it because I don't own it, but I will eventually, I hope. But Kyle, we were fishing out of his boat, Lake St. Clair, this year in April. Obviously, you guys know about that story. We had an amazing time. Best fishing trip I ever had in my life, hands down. Nowhere ever has it even come close. But we were fishing one day, and it was getting kind of slow, and I just panned his forward-facing sonar, his live scope around, and I saw this fish swimming. I just pitched my Ned rig over there, thinking that it was going to be either a catfish or a big smallmouth, because big on the screen. Threw over there and missed it the first time. I was like, that's a smallmouth. So I pitched it over there again and set the hook on it and ended up being almost a 5-pound largemouth. So, like that fish right there, just that day, I would have never known he was there unless I just randomly turned his trolling motor head one way. It was crazy.
That's kind of the sleeper about Lake St. Clair to me is last time you and me went up there and we fished so much, and when the smallmouth would die down, we would go fish for largemouth. Man, they've got some hammered largemouth in that lake too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
pretty daggone crazy.
Well,
but I tell you what, guys.
of,
Yeah, we're about that 45-minute mark. JR's got a couple baits here to show you.
So this is the last of the new baits that I've got. So this is the new Z-Man TRD gobies. So initially I thought this might look a little bit like the Mega Bass. This is actually one of Tyler's favorite colors, the old copper truce. And then one of my favorite colors, the PB&J. I think this is going to be an absolute killer up north when you're fishing for smallmouth in these big goby lakes. That's going to be maybe a game changer, but I guess game changer is the word we're not supposed to use in the fishing industry, right?
Yeah, game changer.
Game changer.
There's a new one though. Game changer is big time, but those hooks are sticky sharp.
Oh yeah, chemically sharpened.
They're sticky sharp. So, guys, again, if you guys haven't had an opportunity to go out there and check out my YouTube channel, I appreciate it if you would do that. YouTube.com/OnAnotherLine. Just before we get off here again, tonight's episode brought to you by Border Sporting Goods in Ashland, Kentucky. Another shout out that's not an affiliate of the show, but kind of is. We had Jesse on here a few months ago from Blue Rock Custom Tackle. You can go out there and check out Blue Rock Custom Tackle. Tell Jesse I sent you by using the code Brandon Klein. That has nothing to do with me. That's my buddy Brandon Klein. He has a promo code from them. He's on their pro staff. Doesn't affect me at all. Helps my buddy out. I don't know if he gets any cash back or if he just gets better discounts or what have you. But if you go over there and buy it, first off, their triple threat jigs are freaking amazing. I really like them a lot. They have a lot of good stuff, man. Like they have a lot of selection. Jesse just bought a new powder coat oven. Let's see, Blue Rock Custom Tackle. Let me see if I can find the website here for you.
Yeah, their finesse jig is really nice too, so don't sleep on that one.
Yeah, the 1099 is amazing. They do have the 1099 XL, which comes in. Here is that really quickly. Again, we don't want to keep you on here too long, guys. We know how it is. It's tough to be a part of it here, but this is the 1099 jig from Blue Rock Custom Tackle. I like green pumpkin candy. I also like green pumpkin black is my favorite color of that all. Inferno Crawl is pretty good too for the springtime. And Ozark Crawl, kind of, that's a muddy water deal. One of another, and I'll show you guys if I can find it here. It's really tough to find sometimes, like his triple threat. I don't know why it is or why. I don't know if nobody buys them or it's like the best kept secret on the planet. Like it's like 4 or 5 pages deep in his. It's kind of like this scrapper ball head, but it's not. I mean, it's a finesse jig, kind of like a Ned. It's basically here it is.
There you go.
You get these as a pack of 2. I buy the 1/4 ounce. I like them a lot better. Black and blue has been a really good one for me. Obviously green pumpkin. Perfect Crawl is freaking amazing. And then blackout, I like it a lot too. It's all black. Ozark Crawl is the same deal. Has that chartreuse in it. Gives you a little bit of a, dirty water type deal. These are all hand tied with copper wire. Pretty cool stuff. And again, this has nothing to do with me because I don't, I'm trying to bring in people that he helps me out. If I need him, I call him, hey, I need some jigs. I pay for him. He overnights them to me. So, he's in Athens, Ohio, really close to us. So again, if you want to get a hold of some really cool baits from Blue Rock Custom, use the code Brandon Klein and that'll save you some dough. Corey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Again, guys, head on over to jbsfishsauce.com. Use the code OALL20. Pick up some of that pinch of garlic. You will not be disappointed. But I will tell you, when you use it, you'll want to go home and have your wife make you some garlic bread and spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good stuff. So again, we're at that 50-minute mark, guys. Appreciate you guys sticking around with this episode of On Another Line. Again, meet JR. He's going to be helping out here. Some we're going to throw down on some deals, but again, still part of the family at the tackle box. That nothing has changed there again, but we've all know the writing on the wall there is coming soon. He's going to be going out of business soon, and I want to try to keep a local shop that deals in tackle, kind of in the loop and try to be able to order things through people and all that stuff. So with that being said, Border Sporting Goods in Nashville, Kentucky is, another great place to shop. But the tackle box does have a 20% off 20% discount on everything. Now, if you're talking about baits and you're going to buy, a $10 bait, you're saving $2 on that thing, which is okay. It's pretty good money. But if you go in and buy an NRX Plus, you're going to save some dough on that. I can promise you that. I can't tell you how much he's selling those things for, but I promise you won't beat the price. You can go in there and buy it. I think over half of the Shimano reels have been, bought out, and they are 20% off as well. So you talk about like a $650 reel. If you were to buy, like a Stella or something, you're saving $120 off the rip.
Yeah, that's reels aren't really marked up too much, so that's a big sale right there. You're probably getting it for as cheap as what he's got it for that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But anywho, appreciate you guys sticking around for this episode of On Another Line. You guys know the routine. If you guys can get out there and lean on them, we'll see you next time on Another Line.